1212, and what it do? We are back, and you are under. Yo, no matter how many times I do this, I'm always want to say we back under the influence. This is just hear me out. You're welcome. This is gonna get erased now, or maybe it won't. Maybe I'll let it fly, cause today I don't really. Ain't a lot happened in the news that like been worth me like really getting in here and reporting on, other than Nolans Wells still out here, and then we got Drake who done went on an interview and he just saying salacious stuff for attention. I didn't even watch it, and I'm going to watch it. I just been getting the reels coming through my feed, of him going at Jay-Z and other writers and other artists. Saying that, his pen ain't ran out of ink, but punk, you just vibing for attention. You just saying stuff. Now, you may still be at the top, but, that reign is just about over, sir. Yeah. You ain't got but a couple more missteps before, with the gimmicky stuff as far as with me, because really that whole interview, and we getting right into it, I guess. Welcome to Just Hear Me Out. This is your boy Snacks, and we back on episode 52. And he is gimmicky. That whole interview is gimmicky. I think he went on a streamer's podcast. A stream, and just was all over the place. But what he was saying and the theatrics, and what's strange though is why didn't he go on academics? Because ain't him and Ack homies, I thought. But I don't know. But yeah, we back. It's your boy Snacks, and you under the influence. See. This is why I probably had to cut off, or I didn't cut off some already, because you're not under the influence. Now you are under the influence. Yeah, when I did have that podcast, that was a good name, called Under the Influence. And the reason being is because at the time while you were listening, you were under the influence. You're under the influence now, my friend. Yeah. If you didn't know, this is how brainwashing works. It really is. You just keep listening, and then I keep pumping my ideas, and you listen because you like the show, or you like me, or you bored, or on a car ride, and you do that enough, and then you're brainwashed. And then you're a baby Snacks. Matter of fact, you're a baby Ruth. Yep, you're a baby Ruth now. You listen to enough of me, that's exactly what you're gonna turn into, a baby Ruth. But nevertheless, we are going to jump right into it. We are right into it with this whole Drake thing. It ain't really too much I'm gonna say about it because I hadn't really watched it. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't. Once I do watch it, it ain't gonna be nothing but me responding to the stupid stuff he's saying. They done posted most of it in the reels. They had this skit where he hugged Adam 22's wife or whatever, which is a porn star, and that was her hall pass was him. So they posted that, and then I think they had other people come on the show, and I'm really just regurgitating what somebody else said happened. But I did see Adam's wife come on the show and hug him, and he said, aren't you? And then they showed her throwing her ring off, which I'm gonna be honest, I thought they was already broke up, because I thought I seen like 3 months ago, Adam and his old lady had split up. But maybe that was, fake news. It's so crazy, ever since Trump came through with, it's such fake news. It'd be a lot of fake news since he started saying that. But it was probably fake news before, I'm sure, But yeah. But what I really wanted to touch on, though, we're going to get back to this Nolans Wells. We're going to jump into this Nolans Wells thing. And it's not even going to be a lot. It's just they done had 3 different, 3 different arrests in conjunction with that case, and none of them are perpetrators. Really, it's just people making threats. And if you don't know already, because once I heard them making arrests, I was like, well, who are these people? So one of them was Michelle Frances Edwards of Ohio. Michelle Frances Edwards of Ohio was accused of making more than 20 threatening calls, including alleged bomb threats to Mississippi government officials. Then another one was Joseph Alfredo Vasquez DeMarco of California. That's a name for you. Joseph Alfredo Vasquez DeMarco of California, who allegedly sent threatening communications to Judge Ashley Cole, whose stepson was reportedly on the Horn Island trip. And then there was Edward James Porter of Illinois, allegedly threatened to kill a witness and the witness's family and sent their home address. I guess he sent them their home address to let them know, hey, I know where you stay. And then the last would be Warren Hudson, Jax Patello, and Morgan Seymour. Oh, no. It was just 3 people. I'm sorry. I went into another bullet point. I think last week, 3 of the boys that were on the boat with him, Warren Hudson, Jax Patello, and Morgan Seymour, the 3 friends who were with Nolan, they've retained attorneys, and they're reportedly planning to return to Horn Island with their lawyers to inspect the area where Nolan disappeared. And their attorneys maintained that the boys are innocent. It's at this point, it's becoming a lot of fanfare to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm reporting on it because that's what everybody else is reporting on, because that's what y'all want to hear about. Or maybe I want to hear about it because they keep reporting on it. Well, here you go. I am in with them reporting on it. I got other stuff that I'm going to report on too, or at least that we're going to talk about, but not besides just that. But this whole thing is becoming a show for me, because they don't really want to come out with no information that's worth nothing. Everything just leads to more speculation. You keep getting more and more useless information that just stirs up more emotion. And we keep adding fuel to the fire of the bias instead of the facts. You know, more things that said he just drowned. More things that said them boys had something to do with it. You know, and I'm trying to remember when this happened. It's over a month now. Yeah, it's over a month. Let me just Google real quick while I'm here with the laptop. I love having this show where you got the laptop access right here. I could just hop right on. When did Nolans Wells go missing? Because I'm trying to remember, this thing been going on since July 4th. It's been going on since July 4th, and listen, in the words of Game of Thrones, we know nothing, Jon Snow. We still know nothing. And so it's becoming old news. I literally, and again, maybe it's my Facebook and Instagram feed. It may be me that I quit liking and responding or looking at topics as such. And so the algorithm is kind of filtering it out, or I feel like it's dying down. And thank God until somebody finna come up with some real, with some real answers. But ever since I started doing a podcast, I'll be trying to pay attention to the news and how it comes through. And I will say that, going back to bring up Carmelo Anthony, that really, I wonder if it died down, like after the first initial, what do I want to say? The first initial excitement and news surrounding it. And then if it died down up until it went to court, because it happened last year, and I think like in April or June. And then it seemed to resurface once his court started, which was this year. And so it took a long time for it actually went to court. And I wonder if this is going to be the case with Nolans Wells. I mean, because some of the information that we actually hanging on to, like the results of the autopsy, at least the first one, the results have been suppressed until the grand jury, and I don't know how court goes, and I'm not finna speak out of turn because I know how I did last time, and I know how y'all came on TikTok and did me. How y'all came from my behind, but y'all was like, that's what a jury of peers means. Know your law. Why do you even got a podcast? We tired of podcasters getting on here and just spitting nonsense. Well, listen, we do what we want to do. We might have enough intelligence and enough know-how to get the podcast started, but we might not know what to say on it just yet, or at least some of us. Because Because some of us are trying to do honest reporting and talk about it or tell jokes, but let it be known that we joking. And some people just come out here to spew their feelings. And even if they do come out here and spew their feelings, their feelings are valid. I mean, and if they found a way to push them over the airways and they got you to listening, I mean, if you sit there and listen to them, listen. And I'm going to tell you that, and I'm a broadcaster. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. It's no exception to the rules. Yeah, there's no exceptions. It's no exceptions. But yeah, this whole Nolans Wells thing is, to me, it's getting old because we're not really, like I said, we're not coming up with no information. Ain't nothing new being shown. Ain't nothing new being found. And I mean, by this time, you should have already had all of the phones, all of the videos, all of the audios, and done went through it all. You done talked to all of the peoples. Ain't no new peoples coming up to say something. And if you do come up to say something at this point, it's literally like, why? Like, why? I mean, because there's been a few people that done stepped up. At least one of the best friends, because it's like two best friends of Nolans that popped up. One of them, the parents was like, we don't even know him. You know, which that doesn't mean that he ain't the best friend. But at this point, y'all best friends. But why y'all just now popping up? I mean, your best friend went missing and there's controversy surrounding his name like a month ago. Where you was at, player? You know what I'm saying? Why you just now saying something? You know, there was also, I think this guy had, and I may report on this, is where the boys came on somebody's podcast and actually, he was actually talking to him, which that's crazy in my opinion, because if they ain't went to trial or maybe they ain't had charges pressed against them, but you know, this is also what makes me think it's fanfare because how y'all out here saying stuff? Y'all ain't got no lawyers. Y'all lawyers ain't told y'all not to say something because y'all literally on here doing a whole podcast. This makes me feel like either them boys innocent. And they like, well, since we innocent, we about to go ahead and just at least get some of this fame. Though you finna get fame for the wrong reasons. And then not only that, I would be afraid to show up on a podcast or afraid to stick my neck out there because, you know, you if there are people that really believe you done it, you ain't gonna do nothing but get in more fuel. And if you come out in public, they ain't finna do nothing but show head. You see, I just read 3 people from not even from Mississippi that was making threats. That's another thing that's wild. Is these people that are making threats or at least getting arrested for making threats you're not even natives of Mississippi. I wonder if you're doing it from out of state. You know, but but that's that though. That's that on Nolans Wells. I'm guessing that, you know, because at this point everybody's just grasping at straws, trying to find something that you can say, oh, they did it or they had something to do with it. Which, in my personal opinion, I mean, they did have something to do with it. What they had to do is, I think, it's probably going to be something like very common. Like I said last episode, as common as Carmelo Anthony getting in a fight with them boys and accidentally killing one. As common as that. And it just so happens that, you know, Nolan died and now they got to hurry up and wash their hands because they don't want to seem like they got anything to do with it. And because they working so hard to seem like they ain't got nothing to do with it, it's making them look like this is some serious shit done happened. And I done said this at least a couple times on 2 different episodes, and I'm glad that I'm saying it because when it come out in the wash, it's gonna be, I'm thinking just that. You know, maybe they got into a scuffle or altercation or something, and they didn't mean to, but now he dead. You know, now they got to set it up and like he drowned. You know, I don't know, and I'm speculating. I'm probably doing just like what I hate some of these content creators that'll post a boy drowning or post a white man drowning a black man or a fight, and then they'll try to make you feel like that's Nolan and one of the boys from the boat, which be dumb. Yeah, just for views. Anyway, we're gonna move on. In better news, and I don't know if I talked about it yet, but I did go see Odyssey. And it was okay. It was okay. It didn't have no feeling to it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't allowed to feel nothing. The only thing I felt bad for Odysseus because they made it seem like Odysseus shouldn't have done what he done to Troy. And that's how, you know, he was going through what he was going through. And it could have been, but then all the stops that they had and the different fight, I just wasn't connected to it. And the action wasn't that actionless. Is that a word? But yeah, the actions wasn't that actionist. So it wasn't no real connection for me there. The other movie I did see, which was better than Odyssey, was Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I seen that, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you know, whether they got whether Spider-Man and the Punisher got a run of comics where it's them two in the city or not, they need to get a spinoff. I get them boys a spinoff. While Marvel trying to find stuff, I mean, I guess maybe they got to make it make sense for those real, solid comic heads who gonna be like, that's not even a storyline, or we never had that, or we never, But that was magic to me. That's like Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor, or Star-Lord and Thor. You know what I'm saying? The back and forth. Yeah, I really like that. They was funny on screen. Spider-Man: Brand New Day was good. He was fighting a hand. I'm sad because who I'm used to fighting a hand is Iron Fist. When they had that run on TV, on Netflix, and that was good. And it's always crazy to me just watching the Marvel movies. Is you thinking to yourself, and somebody else brought this up on another podcast, but I'm not stealing that information. I'm not stealing what they said because it's also my thoughts. Is where were the other Avengers at? Anytime things be happening in New York, you know what I'm saying? With Daredevil out here fighting Fisk, but where's Spider-Man at? I think Spider-Man had to deal with Fisk sometimes too. I think, right? Punisher, where the Punisher was at. Where's everybody at when we got these things popping off? I mean, in Spider-Man: Brand New Day, a powerful creature was running around. I mean, I guess maybe she was still in her infancy because the only thing really she was doing was jumping in people's minds and making them do stuff and say stuff. She wasn't really causing the city like major havoc. Because if she was, then I'm like, where the Avengers at? At least some of them. But it was good, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this new Marvel movie because they ain't had a good one in a minute, if you ask me. They ain't had nothing real solid. But Spider-Man is their guy. Spider-Man is definitely their guy. The only thing I'm gonna say about Marvels is I'm sad about Kang because they should have rectified that. I spoke on that one back when Big Flav was on the podcast about I'm sad about him not being still on the show or on Marvel's team with Kang the Conqueror, because it would have been good. It would have been good. Now we finna have to fight. We finna have Doom, and so I done jumped into my nerd bag on YouTube and been watching YouTubes about the Secret Wars, about Doomsday and Battle World, and I'm interested in how they're gonna play this. I mean, because but the whole Battle World idea is weird to me. It's just, but it's comics though, and they following the comics, but it's just gonna be weird, Battle World. Because if that's because Doom finna have, he finna have the power of the Beyonder, and I wonder if he gonna have the power of the Beyonder on Avengers Doomsday. The way he stopped Thor's hammer, yeah, because I can't see science, giving him ability like that. Because every time I think of Dr. Doom, I'm thinking he just a scientist that done, his powers are manufactured. He created them in the lab. But I'm not no major comic book head, and I really don't know a lot about Doomsday other than when he had that other little movie come out. But he was a scientist then too, I think. And so the way he stops Thor's hammer though, that's not no scientific work. That's the work of you done got some powers from somebody, and if you got powers from somebody, according to the deep diving I did do, those come from the Beyonder. And so that would mean they would have started. And then I heard it in two different stories. See, I heard in the comics that Beyonder brought everybody to Battle World and created the Battle World to make everybody fight. But in this latest recap of Secret Wars and the Battle World is that Doom brought them there, after he took the power of the Beyonder. So, and that's the other thing is, and I'm sorry because I'm not, I like Marvel movies. I like superhero movies, but I'm not a comic book head. I've tried to, I think I had started Batman like maybe 10 years ago, and had like a series of Batmans come to the house, and I tried reading them and keeping up with them, and I don't even remember if I was able to read and keep up with them, but I did those, and that's it. I never read Secret Wars, and I want to say, from what I know, there's an older version and there's a newer version. There's like one that took place in the 80s, and then one that took place in 2015 or somewhere around there. And so they retell the story. And so maybe that's why it may be in the first one, the Beyonder is the one that created Battle World, and in the second one, it was Dr. Doom that created Battle World, and I just don't. And I've heard two people tell two different versions, and maybe that's why I'm hearing it like I am, because I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah, so I seen Spider-Man Brand New Day. It was good. I'm not gonna ramble on anymore about that because I'm not giving you no facts. Just yeah, it ain't a lot of facts in there, or a lot of solid stuff. Just my thoughts, which this is my show, so we could just talk about my thoughts. But next, we're going to get into the encouraging segment of the podcast. I want to be thankful that people are reminding me and kind of giving me a reminder of what my podcast is supposed to be for. And it's supposed to be about encouragement. It's supposed to be about personal and self-growth. That is, that is my thing. That is my thing. And so it's helping sometimes when we have low news days to remind me that I always have evergreen content to talk about, because what I'm seeking to push with my podcast, the main thing, don't got nothing to do with what's on the news. You know what I'm saying? And so I could always have something to say. And so with that, we're gonna jump right into what I wanted to talk about today, and that is about red flags. Everybody, this whole idea of red flags, because the truth is, from my standpoint, everybody got them. Everybody got red flags. Everybody got flags. We've got incredibly good at spotting everybody else's flaws and diagnosing them and calling them red flags, while forgetting that somewhere we are somebody else's red flag. Yeah. When did everything become a red flag? Where did we get this idea of red flags from? We throw, hold on, sorry, y'all. We throw red flag around for everything now. You don't text enough, red flag. Text too much, red flag. Still friends with an ex, red flag. Doesn't have any friends, red flag. Talks to their mama every day, red flag. Doesn't talk to their mama, big red flag. Quiet, emotionally unavailable. Talks a lot, a narcissist. At some point, we stop allowing people to simply have personalities. And that's what, listen. Yes, in these flaws is personality. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the groups, all of the on TV. You know what I'm saying? You think of Power Rangers. You think of Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? You think of all of these groups, all of these teams. I'm trying to think. Friends, the cast of Friends. You think of Living Single. And all of these are personalities. And all of these personalities got their own red flags. It's written. The red flags are written into them. And you watch it. And you relate. Because your behind is also a red flag. Are we actually getting better at recognizing unhealthy behavior, or are we just getting better at finding reasons not to deal with people? You know what I mean? Because they talk too much. I don't want to talk to them, or I don't like how they think. They so rude, or they so mean, or and then you don't deal with them. But what if you just done with them and be like, okay, bro, you like talk a lot. I got enough of you. I can't talk to you a little bit, but I done had enough. Or listen, you so mean, and just telling them and still dealing with them. You're trying to find reasons not to deal with anybody. And I think to some degree, when we get to be lonely and then we try to get back out there to try to make friends, we find out that, I don't, and ain't that a trending thing where people will say, I just don't like people. I just don't like people. If you see me at home, just know I'm not at home. I posted it because they funny. You know what I mean? And I will say that this whole red flag thing, we could blame on. And I'm gonna help you out. We could blame social media for it. Social media gave us a whole new vocabulary to do it with. People be these red flags and they got all these problems, and we quick to label them, right? And social media will make everybody a therapist. A narcissist. You gaslighting. You love bombing. Oh, that's a trauma response. Oh, you so avoidant or manipulative or toxic. Oh, I'm triggered. These are all useful concepts, but we started applying them to regular disagreements and personality differences because we got to diagnose, right? You got to understand why they doing this. It's got to be for a reason. And then you just want to label the whole person. You're a narcissist, or you're avoidant, or you're manipulative just because they may do a thing that seems that way. And that's not who they are. They just, it may be a one-off. And if they are, it could be in a small way. But you don't want to deal with them. And so you just label them a red flag. It's a red flag. Maybe they're not toxic. Maybe y'all just don't match. This is the heart of it. Not every incompatibility requires a villain. Someone can be a perfectly good person and still be wrong for you. You don't like how much they communicate? They don't like how little you communicate. Neither person necessarily needs fixing. You may simply need different things. Preference doesn't equal morality. We've become comfortable saying, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just not what I want. Instead of, let me explain. Or we have to become comfortable with saying, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just not what I want. Instead of, sorry, I lost track. Instead of, let me just start it from the top. They're not toxic. Maybe y'all just don't match. This is the heart of it. Not every incompatibility requires a villain. Someone can be a perfectly good person and still be wrong for you. You don't like how much they communicate? They don't like how little you communicate. Neither person necessarily needs fixing. You may simply need different things. Preference doesn't always equal morality. We have to become comfortable saying, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just not what I want. Instead of, let me explain the 17 psychological reasons why you're damaged. And listen, when I tell you, it may just be y'all just ain't one another's cup of tea. And that's okay. That's okay. It's your responsibility to find people, to find your tribe, or to find people that are like you, that accept you for who you are. You know what I'm saying? Or find people that are just like you. And if they aren't like you, that doesn't make them broken. They just not for you. And if you're like me, maybe that's hard for you to say because you're a people person. Because you love people and you want people to feel loved and you don't want them to feel like, you don't care about them. But perhaps that's not a curse, but a blessing. Because maybe they don't realize that they're trying to put a circle in a square. And by you telling them that, they can then realize, you know what, you're right. Because I keep trying to kick it with you and it's just not working. You know what I mean? But anyway, Why do we sometimes need somebody to be a bad person before we feel justified walking away? I think, if Opus clip just happened so to clip that, please, jump in the comments, jump in the chat and say, why do we sometimes need somebody to be a bad person before we feel justified walking away? Because they don't have to be a bad person for you to realize they just not the person or one of the people for you. We just not, we always fighting as friends. Maybe we just ain't compatible. And maybe we don't have to hate each other. We don't have to be mad at each other. Hell, I'm gonna go as far as to say you don't got to stop dealing with each other. But perhaps you both can find other people to deal with, other people to be friends with, other people to kick it with, to talk to. You don't have to force it. I think too many times we find ourselves forcing things, but we talking about red flags. Now let's turn the conversation around. You're somebody's red flag. We judge ourselves by our intentions. We often judge others by their behavior. You say, I'm independent. Someone else says, that dude is emotionally unavailable. You say, I'm affectionate. They say, you clingy, bruh. You say, I'm brutally honest. Somebody somewhere else is telling their friend, that fool is rude. You say you're protecting your peace. Someone else might experience you as shutting them out. You say you're spontaneous. Someone else calls you unreliable. You say you're careful with money. Somebody calls you cheap. Here's the big question. Another one that Opus may clip. And if it just so happens to clip it, I want y'all to answer down in chat. Down in the comments, it says, what quality do you love about yourself that somebody else might actually consider a red flag? That question alone could eat up 2 minutes. Maybe that's talking to me. Transition. But yes, again, what quality do you love about yourself that somebody else might actually consider a red flag? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about what your flags are? What red flags you got? Because as sure as you're looking at me or listening to my voice on this podcast, I'm going to tell you, you have a red flag. You are somebody's red flag. I was considering this earlier before I got on ready to do the podcast. And, what's needed is self-awareness and honesty. Brutal honesty with yourself. I think that would help. I use it. That's why some of my favorite reading is self-help. I mean, listen, here's the book on my shelf behind me right now. I'm done reading it, and I got other ones to read, but listen, how God's work. This is how God works, the science behind the benefits of religion. Self-help. Because I want to learn myself. I want to learn, why do I believe in God from a psychological standpoint? What is it? What is the benefit to that? Why do we do that? So not to get too deep, but, just being self-aware and being honest with yourself about who you are and loving yourself, realizing that you are broken. Everybody is broken. Everybody is broken. Everybody has trauma. No one grew up perfectly. No one. And I need you to hear me to say that again. No one grew up perfect. Nobody. And that means they have trauma. They have trauma. And if you can be honest with yourself, I think you can learn to deal with other people and not inflate their wrongs. You might see them do some things, and they may do something that's gaslighting. They may have a moment where they gaslight. Does that mean that they should be labeled a gaslighter? They may do something that has narcissistic tendencies, but are they narcissistic? You know what I mean? I just want you to we just trying to look at why people, why we go so hard. We're talking about people's red flags, but we gonna learn to let people live. Some behaviors absolutely are red flags. Abuse, manipulation, controlling behavior, chronic dishonesty, repeated disrespect. We're not talking about ignoring genuine warning signs. We're talking about learning the difference between a dangerous behavior, an unhealthy behavior, incompatibility, annoying, or just simply different. Those aren't the same thing. And sometimes maturity means recognizing I wouldn't do it that way, but they aren't me. You don't have to diagnose them. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to date them. You can just let them live. In closing, before we start waving the red flags at everybody else, we might need to look in the mirror, because somewhere out there, somebody is telling a story about you right now. Maybe the goal isn't finding somebody with no red flags. Maybe it's finding somebody whose flaws you can live with, because I promise you, they're going to have to live with some of yours. So that's it. That's the episode. I thank you guys for listening. It needed to get recorded. I was trying to go over what I was going to talk about. I kept thinking, there's no news, ain't nothing out here popping but Nolans Wells. And I think yesterday I came across my first joke on the Nolans Wells case. And I said, yeah, see, that's a sign that people are caring less. And because it's dying in the news, it's not getting the attention. And I say it, maybe it's me. Maybe it's my social media. Maybe my algorithm is being reset by me. And that could be that by me, because I'm just not interacting with the stories that come through, But if I'm right, just like in the Carmelo Anthony case, the news about it is going to fade away until they come close to going to court. But then I think somebody has to be charged. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's, and I've been reporting on it. And I don't think, because they talking grand jury, and now I'm finna go back into talking about it because they're talking about grand jury. But grand jury is when there's going to be a case, right? And who's the case going to be against if ain't nobody been charged? I'm trying to think, has anybody been charged? So what's the whole thing about a grand jury? Maybe I'll make that my homework for the next episode. Matter of fact, that's going to be my homework for next episode, to understand what they mean about how the autopsy results won't be opened up and talked about until grand jury. Has any, because because I want to bring y'all the truth. I want to bring y'all my thoughts, and I want to bring them from a place of not from a place of ignorance, because y'all busted my behind last time. We're not doing that again. Y'all not finna bust my behind like y'all did last time. I'm finna know what I'm talking about when I turn this mic on, and when I start coming with strong opinions, because I do got them, and where I know them, I got them. You know what I mean? Y'all not finna catch me like y'all caught me slipping last time. Has anyone been charged in the Nolans Wells case? Boom. Other than them, 3 people charged with threatening the judge, and that's it. That's the only charges. So, what's this whole grand jury idea? But we're gonna get to the bottom of it. This is your boy, the sexy. You have been, I was fitting to say, under the influence. Boy, this means, see, this makes me miss Carrillo. That's who I used to do the Under Influence podcast with, Carrillo. That makes me miss Carrillo. It is telling me that I do need to go ahead and pivot into doing this thing that I want to do, and that's begin to stream and do, so I can do Zoom interviews. I'm putting myself out there as a podcast to where I'm going to networking events, and I'm going to start giving, entrepreneurs and businesses a chance to get their names out there. So I'm gonna start selling my services as a podcast, and then cutting reels for them. So, stay tuned for that. That's just gonna be my thing. I got to figure out a way to make this thing make some money, because that was the whole. That's one of the goals. of my goals of this podcast. I like to talk, and I got a good opinion. I got a good head on my shoulders. If I can toot my own horn, you know what I'm saying? You know, y'all ain't gonna toot it. I'm gonna toot this thing. Toot, toot. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to break out with don't mess with my toot, toot. But yeah. And I need this thing to make some money for me. It's what I like doing. It's what I want to do with the rest of my life, you know. And I didn't even really come in here and talk about my fitness journey either. I forgot to tell y'all about that, but I am down. My weigh-in on Monday was 264.2, I think. So now I'm excited about getting out of 260s. Let's get into 250s, you know? Shh. I mean, if I could say it on the podcast, listen, I can't wait to get to the 230s, because once I'm in the 230s, oh yeah, my man's going to make an appearance again, because I can't see that joker because I got too much stomach. That mother stomach in the way. Yeah. With that note, y'all probably saying, somebody take this man podcast. And yeah, on that note, thank you for listening. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back with understanding what they mean about this whole grand jury thing. And if nobody's been tried, why are they saying, you know, we ain't gonna know the results of the thing into the grand jury? Because who been charged? What we gonna do in court? Ain't nobody in there. Who's on the defense? What we need a grand jury for, you know? But anyway, this your boy, Snacks. And thank y'all for listening. Deuces.
Just Hear Me Out podcast with Snacks and Big Flav. Not a tongue bitten and always worth a listen. Weekly on your favorite platform.